So what keep you hopeful? What are let me phrase it this way. What are some of the advancements since the civil rights era? Things that you can point out and say, hey, these are progress that be made. And what do you think about the future of this fight for freedom and like Nelson Mandela used to say, the long walk to freedom, is not over yet.
It's been a long road, and now the road leads to education. Again, Juneteenth is not necessarily a civil rights issue, but a social rights.
Right.
So we're working to make sure people get registered to vote. They don't have to be told about the brown bag to see if they were allowed to vote. They don't have to pay a poll tax. We want to make sure people know that they have the right and the expectation that they will use that right to register to vote, not vote for any particular party. Read both sides of the issue, find out who the best person is for the job, and vote for them. We do not support any type. We don't support a candidate. We support the truth. So we say, examine what you're doing, make a decision, but if nothing else, make a vote. Let your voice be heard. Going forward, of course, as if we had politicians in the 1870s, 100 years later, we started getting them back in office again. We still have redlining where people cannot get a lease or a home in certain areas. We still have states where after dark you don't want to be caught in those states. You still have idiots that are up on the bridges dropping rocks on cars if they see them coming and they don't look like them. They will throw a rock at them and drop boulders through the windshield. So some things have not changed. You've got people get a knee in their back and for selling a cigarette or for standing on the corner or for walking from the grocery store because they don't think they look right. You've got the Arbery family where he was out jogging and they didn't think he belonged, so they chased him and they shot him in the back. So those are things we really got that have not changed. And with the last administration, they've come out from under the rocks. They've never left, but they are more. They're nowadays January 6th. They're out there, back out in the open, in out of the white sheets. But again, Juneteenth is a unifier. We're trying to bring the Republicans and the Democrats together. We are working with the NAACP and other organizations that have been out there forever. In fact, I will be speaking at one of the NAACP events this coming weekend. We help each other now. There's another Juneteenth organization here in Las Vegas, Juneteenth Festival, that Diane Pollard, they tried to keep us separated. And finally, Diane and I had a chance to sit down and have a lunch. And so now when they call and say Diane is upset with you, I pick up a telephone and say, what's the problem? She always says there's no problem. They're trying to break us up. So now Diane will be having her event with 5,000 people. And I have my smaller events and my legislations. My events are normally 400 people. She does one 5,000 and I do 10 400. So we're still in the same arena. I do the videos. I go out and speak to people. I pass out information. We have the Facebook Juneteenth Directors and Planners page. We have the Juneteenth Celebrations page. We have JuneteenthNevada.org, national-juneteenth.org. We have a weekly call where we invite people from across the country, and that is at 720-453-2464. 12 noon Central Time. You're welcome to come in, listen, learn, ask questions. We have a planning group every year we do an event, a national event for our directors and planners. So on Mondays, we have a meeting where we're planning this. On Tuesday, we have an economics group that meets. We have a Miss Juneteenth group that meets. On Wednesday, the education and calendar group meets. We have a legislative coin group this meeting. We are working on a coin that should be out in a couple of years because it takes that long to turn things around. We have a Juneteenth stamping planning. We just finished off Shove Off Day. Shove Off Day, May 25th, we had reenactors and speakers in Fort Comfort, Virginia, now known as Hopewell, Virginia. That is where the ships left on their way to the Texas Mexico border and stopping off at Galveston. So we had a program there May 25th of this year in recognition of and that's an annual. It is in partnership with the Park Service Administration and who they are also in charge of the White House. And because of that, we have moved forward. We will be at the White House on the ellipse June 19th with our Wave of Freedom program. All things Juneteenth is what we say. We connect all the dots, we connect the people, we connect the messages and go forward and try to tie in everything that you need to know about our history. Again, we are Americans. We are Americans of African descent. Our flag is red, white, and blue. The red goes on on the bottom of the flag when you hang it to represent the blood that we shed. We were the inventors. We recognize every year. We move forward. Education for the families, for the children. Another program we had here in Vegas that we've got to bring back is Soul City Wi-Fi. We're presenting free internet service to the members of the community. We're going to be expanding that outward. But that's where we did that during COVID, where, as I say, Steve is an internet technician, an engineer. He actually came out during COVID, probably in some cases the only person on the plane, other than the people that were working the plane, mask, sunglasses, big hat, rubber gloves. He had the whole thing, but he came out here for 2 years, and he climbed the ladder to the rooftops and installed equipment to give service to the West Side community. So that will be coming back. We have Juneteenth.tv, which is just coming out of beta. We've been testing it, and it will have 8 channels of programming, 8 channels of Juneteenth stories, 8 channels where we can tell our history, the American history, and put it out there and go forward.
That's a great idea. Juneteenth.tv. That's a great idea. You also have that web conference, Uber conference slash
We have
Juneteenth.
Uber conference. That's our conference line. And as I say, we have conference calls every evening between 5 and 6, depending on which 5 and 6 Pacific, depending on which organization or which membership you belong to. And it is available to our directors. So if the person in Ohio or Indiana or Kansas, if one of our directors needed to set up a meeting, they contact me and we will give them the use of our Uber line so they can set up their meetings and they can do their planning. Actually, there are other Juneteenth. We have Miss Juneteenth. We have Miss Juneteenth on the internet on Facebook. We have a National Miss Juneteenth page and a Juneteenth Nevada page. So you can go with all of those. We pass the information on. That is the Uber line that you're showing there. And we send out 400 invitations every week. If they will contact me at 888-509-6563, extension 701 with questions, they can call me. If they just want to get on the mailing list, they can send an email to join, JOIN, at national-juneteenth.org. Put their name, email, and a phone number. We will put them on the listing. They will get an agenda on Friday nights for the Saturday call. They will get a reminder call on Saturday morning to join us. Calls are normally 90 minutes to 2 hours long.
So for someone out there, what's your advice for young people, for people around the world,
Keep reading, read multiple versions, and if you have a question, if it does not make sense, call me. Well,
Right.
I may not have all the answers, but I have faith that we have enough people within the Juneteenth Nation. I can get you an answer. We can get an answer. We love working with people. We want to make sure they tell the real story. Read, listen, ask questions. And genealogy, go with the oldest person in the family, and it's before you lose them, and get as much information about the family from them, and write it down. There are There's software on the internet. When I started, everything was paper and pencil. There was no internet. You
Yeah.
now have Ancestry. You've got Mormons. They have internet site that's got, you can look up the census records. You can follow some of those trails and get information. You have your DNA test. If you know, not everybody believes in DNA, but it's out there. So
Right.
find the tools that you can use, study your family, study the history. And when you find the history, don't keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Share it with
Share it.
others. Pass it